Hi everyone, welcome to the Movie Section Show. My name is Veronica, and today I want to do a very special discussion because a lot has come out in light of Deadpool 3. Originally speaking, I had planned to do a video about the Jennifer Garner casting that had happened about a couple of days ago and discuss about the implications of it, why she's coming back, and all that sort of stuff, right? And just the whole hype behind Deadpool 3. But then this morning, unexpectedly, we got a first look of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in what seems to be the comic accurate version of his costume. So I decided that instead of just doing separate videos, let's just cover both topics in one video, just for the heck of it. So let me just first talk about, of course, the older news, and that is the Jennifer Garner casting. So back on Friday, yeah. I think it was like roughly at the end of the day, there was a report, I believe, from the Hollywood Reporter that confirmed Jennifer Garner was reprising her role as Elektra and will appear in Deadpool 3. That was a big story. A lot of people were in extreme shock because like who would have thought that after almost 20 years that Jennifer Garner will be reprising her role of Elektra, which I mean there's a lot of discuss about that in general, right? So I mean for me, I particularly am not the big 2003 Daredevil fan. I have seen the spinoff or the sequel in a sense with Elektra as well. At least from what I remember, it was just a bit of a boring superhero origin story, I guess, or not really origins because it was technically right after the events of 2003. But even that being the case, right? Like I would have never imagined that, anybody from that era was going to come back. Now, having said that, there were some rumors about a month or so ago that apparently Ben Affleck was on the set of Deadpool 3, which I initially kind of, ignored because I was like, there's just no way that, that Ben Affleck was going to reprise his role as a Daredevil, or at least the 2003 version of Daredevil. And that's coming with the fact that, we're getting Charlie Cox back as Daredevil for his upcoming show, Daredevil Born Again, which we'll talk about in a second. But now with this report of Garner coming back, now that makes the rumor far more true. It makes the actual rumor seem far more plausible than it was before. But now let's say we're down into it. So of course, going into this casting update with Deadpool 3, it definitely gives us a lot of questions about how this would affect Daredevil Born Again, because Charlie Cox, who played the Daredevil from the Netflix series, is now coming back as now the MCU version of Daredevil, right? So that one I believe they are still filming, or at least near filming, because there is going to be the whole situation with the actor strike coming up soon if they don't resolve that. Of course, we have the writer's strike. But even that being the case, right? That is still going to be a show that's coming out. It's supposed to be coming out in about 2 years from now, or next year. I'm pretty sure 2 years from now. Or maybe next year. I can't remember. I gotta look back into the map. There's a lot of they change a lot of schedules. But that's still gonna be a thing. That's gonna happen. We actually saw Charlie Cox debut his MCU version back in She-Hulk episode 9. So he is in the universe, right? But now how does this affect, knowing that Deadpool 3 is also part of MCU, right? How does this affect Daredevil Born Again? There's a lot of questions about that. If Elektra's coming back, and yet we still have this Daredevil from the MCU Netflix version. What does this imply about the whole film, right? Because I'm pretty sure they had recasted Elektra for the upcoming Daredevil series because Alana Young, who played Elektra in the Netflix version, is not returning. I'm pretty sure they had recasted her. I can't remember who, but that has happened, right? So, but now we have this version of Elektra coming. So what does this imply, right? I mean, the first thing that I think screams about this movie that is probably going to be related to the multiverse in some way or some form. I think there's just no denying that at this point, because if you're bringing in the 2003 version of Elektra into this film, and the fact that it's making it even more plausible that Ben Affleck is going to replay his role as Daredevil, his version of Daredevil, but like still like not trying to overlap with the current versions of Daredevil and Elektra that we're going to have in about the near future. Again, it's going to have to be about multiverse, right? That has been the theme so far throughout all these films. I mean, the actual saga is literally called Multiverse Saga, right? So what better way to adapt the next Deadpool 3 movie than to jump into the multiverse, right? I mean, it has also been played a bit. I think it has been played a bit in it has been played a bit in the first two Deadpool films as well. I think not into the depths of it all, but I could see how this movie will really go dive deep into it. Like, I think this could be the perfect film to really just go into it, actually make it more of a mockery of it instead of just actually showing the issues behind it. Like, I think that's kind of how I can imagine this whole film being about, just a mockery of the multiverse. And I can just see Wade just like saying shit about it. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if by any point he says anything about what happened in Multiverse of Madness and jokes about those events if he has to, because I mean, or not even just that, but even like Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania, right? There's just so many ways that I can see Wade poking fun of what we've seen so far in the multiverse, and then just that being played out in Deadpool 3. Like, that's the only way I can imagine. I mean, I feel like that's the only way I can imagine how Wolverine is coming back, right? Because it has been said, I believe, in some interviews so far that the Wolverine that we're seeing in Deadpool 3 is not the same Logan that we see from, Logan, right? I think that it has been made that, that the Logans that we're seeing, the Wolverines that we're seeing are different, right? The Logan that we saw at, back in 2017, where it was supposed to be Hugh Jackman's, final call as, the Wolverine or Logan, that's going to be a whole separate, universe, right? And this Wolverine that we're seeing is different from the Logan that we saw in that whole franchise. So it's going to be a bit confusing, but it also makes sense just to like kind of distinguish between the two timelines, distinguishing between the two stories, trying not to overlap things, knowing that, there's going to be the multiverse aspect to it. So, and again, I can see how because of that this is why, Garner's coming back as, Elektra. Like, that's the only thing that explains. I think at this point we can now, I think as of this point we can now just kind of imply that this whole movie is going to play upon the whole multiverse aspect. I mean, I'm pretty sure the movie is about it's still filming, right? It's about to be, or at least nearing filming as well, because again, the whole writers and the actors strike and all that sort of stuff. And not just that, but the movie actually got pushed up. The movie got pushed up about 2 months ahead of what was initially scheduled. It was supposed to come out in July 2024. Now it's coming out in May 2024, which is actually typically, a spot that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe loves to grab onto. The first Thursday, Friday of May schedule. They always love that. The fact that Deadpool 3 has that schedule intact is a big thing. I'm going to assume, again, a lot of it is because of probably Blade being pushed back, Thunderbolt being pushed back, and with Deadpool 3 having at least been, filming around that time, and at least nearing filming, it makes sense why that got pushed up. And I mean, I'm going to assume that because it is not too, it's not too integral to the other aspect of storytelling happening around the multiverse, so I can see how that made it much easier for the Marvel executives to push up the film. So we are getting that film quite soon. I would not be surprised if we actually get a trailer for it, a first trailer, at least a teaser in the coming months. Like, if it's coming out in May, right? I could imagine a teaser coming out in roughly about a month or so from now, maybe like August or September, and then maybe the first official trailer coming out roughly around November or December. Because, again, it's coming out in May, so you need at least about 7 months ahead of time to at least release the first trailer for a movie, or at least a teaser trailer. So if you do the math, that's like looking around like October, November. So we're getting really close to this film. We're actually getting far more closer to this film than we all had imagined, probably because, again, this film was supposed to come out in July, got pushed up to May, so now it's even coming much, much closer. It's coming much sooner than we would have expected. And now that we've got this casting, as well as the fact that, we got this first image, we're about to go into a second, It's pretty insane what this movie could be about, knowing that, again, this is going to be not just a Deadpool movie, but it's going to be part of the MCU. Like, this is the first Deadpool movie that's going to be a part of the MCU. That's going to be very exciting to see. Like, that is, I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but that's going to be very promising. So, having said that, let's get right down into the image that Ryan Reynolds had posted on his Instagram. Here's the image that Ryan Reynolds had posted on his Instagram. And of course, a lot of people are talking about it online because this is insane. Because now, okay, he says, don't blink, and just right away. Like, I mean, yeah, you see Wade, but right away, the thing that really catches your attention is this human body wearing this very overly yellowish costume, right? That really kind of screams like into your eyes. And yeah, we can tell instantly that this is definitely a homage to Logan or Wolverine's original costume from the comics. Like that's clearly the comic accurate version of it. Like, who would have thought that we're finally going to get to see a comic accurate version of Wolverine costume? Like, I think this has been, you know, a lot of people have been asking for this for the longest time possible. We never actually got to see this. I don't think we actually got to see this ever in the original X-Men franchise back with Fox Studios. But this is not the first. We're seeing the first ever footage of Wolverine back in the, you know, well, first off, Hugh Jackman back as, you know, Wolverine that, you know, we've probably been hoping for to see for a long time. And then, of course, the whole thing last year where, you know, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman made that video, confirmed that they're going to do a movie together. We still have yet to get an official title for that, of course. I mean, as of right now, it's just called Deadpool 3. But now here it is. We're getting far more footage of this film. And yeah, the fact that we're actually getting to see Hugh Jackman finally pulling off the comic accurate, you know, Wolverine costume is insane. I mean, it actually does not look bad. Like, I mean, he kind of looks good in it. Like, I mean, who would have thought that this is going to actually happen? Like, this is going to become a thing. And yeah, like, I mean, honestly, like, this is, let's be honest, this is a very, you know, on point costume. It looks insane. Of course, the only thing that is missing is the headpiece. So I wonder if he does have a headpiece to this. Like, maybe this is a part of the movie where, like, you know, he probably had damage to his headpiece or whatnot, and it's just him without it. Although, hold up, I can see like bits of his hair, the one that like is a bit more spiky on the side. I can see little bits of that right there, but I wonder if that's what they're kind of homaging to. But honestly though, like, who thought that we were gonna get this? Like, this is incredible. I am so, like, I've not felt so excited now just for this film. Like, I mean, this image itself just kind of signified everything about what I needed to see about this film. The fact that he is wearing this comic accurate costume is so insane. Like, I think one of the things that going into it is, I think the biggest concern is whether or not it's something that can be pulled off in a more real life vibe, because it is so overly yellow. And yellow is something that, you know, it's definitely a color that's hard to pull off, in a more real life environment. I think it works in a comic book, of course, because, like, I think having that effect, it suits the whole nature of the whole, like, comic book, like, visuals of it. But, like, it can be a bit of an eyesore if you see it in real life, right? Like, anybody would wear something overly yellow, right? I think that's probably why Fox has never ever, you know, decided to ever execute the whole yellow costume, because of how hard it is to kind of really replicate it and make it easy on the eye. But yeah, here it is. I think Marvel has shown a testament of this is possible. You can wear a yellow costume and not make it such an eyesore. And again, it looks incredible. I think, honestly though, I think a lot of it you have to credit to Hugh Jackman, because, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, I think it's because of how he's managed to kind of embody, you know, the Wolverine / Logan, that, you know, he's really kind of gotten his persona down. He's really been, I mean, I know at least in the last couple of months, like, he had been really deep in his training as the Wolverine again, because, like, I think that's one of the reasons why he returned initially, because, like, he couldn't, because for one thing, it is a very exhausting thing to do, like, having to keep up with the body build of someone as muscular as Wolverine, right? And for him to really kind of be dedicated again to that whole regimen is just incredible. Like, you can see right here just a testament of all the hard work that he's putting into it to make sure that he brings back the Logan that we all know. pulling off that body, the muscles that he needs to pull into to showcase the original Wolverine before it gets Logan. And so that way that he can re-team up with Deadpool, and in one we have been asking for such a long time, and now here it is. Like, I think we had to compliment Hugh Jackman for really just having put in so much hard work to really kind of build back that build of who we know as Wolverine. And I think that because of it, it works so well here, just for him to kind of wear that Wolverine costume, the accurate Wolverine costume. Like, I mean, even the blue tint is correct. Like, the blue tint of it all is correct. Like this is like, you could not be any more accurate than this. I mean, this has now really just enhanced the hype of Deadpool 3. Like, I mean, it has amplified in a big way just with this image right here. And holy crap, like, I'm so excited to see this film now. Like, now I know that when they had pushed up the schedule for Deadpool 3, like, I mean, that made me excited just because now we are getting it sooner than we had imagined. But now having seen this image, like, I'm just kind of like, holy crap. This movie's coming out in 7 months. That is not 7 months, sorry, 10 months. That is insane. Like, that is sooner than I would have expected it. I'm happy we're getting it sooner than we would have imagined. I mean, now having seen that image, I'm just, wow. Like, I cannot wait to see this film, just to see the dynamic between Wade and Wolverine. Like, we've seen it happen so many times in these snippets, these teasers between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and how they tease each other and all that sort of stuff. But now we're finally seeing all that dynamic being played into, pulling it all together into a movie that we all thought was never ever going to happen because of the whole situation with, because of the whole situation with Disney acquiring Fox. Like, none of that we thought would ever going to happen. And now here it is. We're going to have it happen. And I'm super excited to see it. Like, I mean, this image has definitely just exceeded everyone's expectations. Now has really hyped the whole anticipation for this film. I mean, this is going to be big. Like, I cannot wait to see this film. 10 months. Like, I mean, we can pull it through for 10 months, right? So yeah, I am super, super excited to see Deadpool 3. I think the images look great. Jennifer Garner's casting is a big thing. I wonder if Ben Affleck's going to be in the movie now, if the rumors were actually true. That's going to be huge. I feel like this is going to be a very, very big movie, just in general. So yeah, I cannot wait to see Deadpool next year. But let me know what your thoughts are about this film. Not about this film, sorry. About the images that we've been getting, the casting updates, the fact that, the movie's coming out in 10 months as of today. Like, this is insane, right? What are your thoughts about it so far? What are your thoughts about the images? For me, again, I think the fact that they were able to even pull this off, I mean, I can't even imagine how this one's going to be when we get it back, and when we get it in May of 2023. But what are your thoughts about it? Are you impressed by this? Or maybe you still want that headpiece? Do you think it's almost complete, just like it needs that headpiece? Do you think we're going to get that headpiece? Is that going to be happening? Let me know. What do you think about the Jennifer Garner casting in general as well? That's something I didn't get the chance to talk about, and now I have. What do you think about that casting so far? Do you agree that the whole idea of her casting could also mean that Ben Affleck is coming back, as well as the fact that, this movie might be tackling into the multiverse story, but maybe even mocking in a sense? What are your other theories about some of the recent updates that we've been getting so far, including images as well as the casting? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.